Hi guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning the theme to James Bond. So first off, I have to give a big shout out to Evan for writing an awesome arrangement, and to the boys that are our rhythm section. So Chaz was on drums, and Steven, who I'm sure a lot of you who've been following our channel are familiar with as he plays ukulele as well, laid down the bass for us. So big props to everyone. And I gotta say that this is actually one of my favorite movie themes, like definitely top 5, because it has an awesome melody, and then it has another awesome melody, and then it goes to another. It's like the whole thing is just awesome melody after awesome melody. So this one's a lot of fun to play, and it's going to be perfect for those of you that are more advanced. So I'd say this is going to be a great fingerstyle piece for the seasoned intermediate to the advanced player. So if you want to see how I define the beginner, intermediate, and advanced player and what I think each level should be working on, I'm going to put that in the description box below. So be sure to check out that link. Now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this lesson. So I've got this lesson split into 2 parts. In this is the part 1 lesson. We're going to be learning the first half of the tune. If you want to learn the second half of the tune, you can click this link or go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for James Bond theme. There you're going to be able to find the tabs that you can print off and follow along with as a PDF format, as well as access the on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset for getting a tricky tune like this down that much easier. And last but not least, guys, this song does have backing tracks. So we've got the backing track, the bass and the drums, that you can download in 3 different speeds: 100%, 75%, and 50%. So once you learn the ukulele part, you can rock out at home with the band. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into learning it. A few things that we want to cover before we do start learning it. The first thing is that we're going to be playing with 2 different rhythmic fills. So the first part of the song starts with a straight 8th note fill, but then when we get into, let's see which section it is, the horn section, we're going to switch to a triplet rhythm fill. So if you are new to understanding the difference between straight 8th notes and a swung 8th note fill, check out this lesson. I'll go ahead and point that lesson out again when we get to it in the song. Now the second thing I want to say is that we're going to be counting out rhythms as we work throughout all this. So this is really a song that is vital to understanding the rhythms that you're playing, because it gets really tricky. It gets really tricky in some sections. So I'm going to put a link to our notation lesson in the description box below. That'll get you caught up with the basics. And honestly, the best way, in my opinion, to really understand how rhythm and timing connect is to learn to read standard notation, because it eliminates tablature. So without tablature, you're forced to understand rhythms. So we actually have a complete course for learning to read standard notation. So check that out if you're interested in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into playing this. Most of this song is going to be with bouncing between a 3 and a 4 finger picking approach. So 4 finger means each finger gets its own string. 3 finger means thumb would get 2 strings. So 4 and 3, index would get the second, and then middle finger would get the first string. We are going to be using a technique that resembles a plectrum. I think I have one. Let's see. Pause. Here it is. So we are going to be using a picking approach that resembles as if we were using a pick, which is used mostly for guitar. Bass players also use a pick from time to time. And that's going to be for that guitar riff in the song. So it's super duper fast, so a lot of speed required. So I'm going to be showing you a really interesting way to do it resembling a pick that should make speed easier to obtain. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. But let me go ahead and play the first part. We have this little walk up and walk down voice leading intro. And it sounds like this. Okay, so voice leading, real quick, fancy music term. So that basically means that we have a common chord. We know this chord, it's the staircase shape for E minor, but we're going between a couple chords. We start on E minor, the next chord goes to an E minor with a sharp 5, so you can see that the walk up is happening on string 1. The next chord after that is the E minor 6, so you see you went to the 4th fret, and then back to the E minor with the sharp 5. So you have this B note, going to B sharp, because it's a sharp 5, and then going up a half step to the C sharp, and then we walk back. So in essence, voice leading just means that we take one chord, and we're going to the next chord, but we're keeping chord tones in common, so you can see the top strings, but we're changing one note by a series of a half step in this case. So you can hear the end result is that we have this pretty chord progression that just goes up and down very nicely, connects one chord to the next. That's all voice leading means in a nutshell. It's a fancy little music term, but you get really cool results when you utilize it. All right, so enough about music theory. Let's go ahead and play it. So make the E minor chord shape, and we have all quarter notes for this rhythm. We're going to play string 1, and then we're going to pluck 3 and 2, and then here's where it gets a little tricky. You're going to pivot this down at the first joint, this middle finger. So this middle finger comes down at that first joint, and it's a partial bar. Okay? So here's the thing with this. When I pivot down, it's okay to lift this index finger up. It's actually going to make this chord shape easier to do. Okay, this is our sharp 5. So the other key thing with this chord shape is that we have proper form behind the neck. We have this U-shaped gap. So if you're new to understanding proper form, then check out this lesson, which goes super in-depth in establishing form. So form isn't only in front of the neck, it's really important what's happening behind the neck. So that lesson's going to talk all about that. So we have this bent on string 1 and 2, and then we have a ring staying where it was. Okay? After that, we're going to use the pinky finger, and we can curve this finger back up, and our pinky's going to go on the 4th fret of string 1. Okay, so there's really our 3 chords. If we look at our 3 chords, we have E minor to E minor with a sharp 5, and then to E minor 6. Okay, so you want to take a second just to cycle through those. So E minor, then we lift the index, lay flat, pivot down with the middle at that first joint. So you have a partial bar, strings 1 and 2, and then pinky comes down, that comes back up, lift pinky, pivot back down. So you can cycle through that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So doing that just helps get the muscle memory down. Now all you're going to be doing to play the actual part is to play string 1, then pluck 3 and 2, go to the next chord, play string 1, pluck 3 and 2, go to string 1, pluck 3 and 2. Right? So E minor, sharp 5, 6, sharp 5. And that's basically it. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we go sharp 5 to E minor 6, we can keep that down, and you can add just the pinky, or you can come back up. So check that out. If I come up, back down. Either one works, it's up to you, whatever feels most comfortable. So let's go ahead and see if we can try this one time through. So this is going to cover 2 bars, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's give that a shot. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. So here's the thing. This intro, which later on I've labeled as the interlude, that's going to go 2 times in a row. So those 2 bars you're just going to double. So you're going to play for 4 bars. Okay? So that's a very simple start to this tune. It gets a little bit trickier here as we go into the riff. So let me go ahead and play a little bit of this riff and then we'll break it down. Okay, so that's what the first couple bars sound like. And this actually brings up a good point that I forgot to mention in the first part. If you are following along with the sheet music, do print out Andrew's version, because I have changed a few things, simplified things here and there, and changed a few other things just to fit my playing style. And I think, like I said, to simplify it, but to make it a little bit easier to play. So do print out that as you're following this lesson and the part 2 lesson, because I'm going to be teaching from my version. Now, what's cool to do is to check out how Evan played, because he plays things a little bit different, and you can feel free to mix and match. So you can pull ideas from his performance and then ideas from my version and create your own. So just want to throw that in there. So the big thing between my riff that I'm playing versus the one that Evan played is that my riff will be note for note like the record. So that iconic guitar riff that you hear on the actual recording, this version I'm teaching you will be note for note identical to it. So Evan added a couple extra notes, made it a little bit more complex rhythm. So he switched it up a little bit because it was his arrangement. You know, with an arrangement you always have poetic license. But I'm going to teach you how to play it just like the original record, which is actually a little bit easier than what he did. So here's the thing. Rhythmically, these next, let's see, what is it? The next 6 bars, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next 6 bars all have the same rhythm. And I'm going to put the rhythm up to the right of me, right here, or I guess your left. And that rhythm is going to be 1 and a 2 and holds into beat 3 and 4 and. So you have 1 and a 2 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 4 and. So if I put that to the playing, and I count it 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 4 and. Okay, so you want to get that rhythm locked in your head. Very catchy too. Ba da 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 ba da 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 da. So you can also approach it by ear. So you can sing it. If you can sing it, you can play it. But do understand the rhythm. It makes it so much easier to really comprehend it. So best to work with both methods. Playing it by ear as well as counting it and understanding the notation. All right, so we're going to start with just the index finger on the 4th fret of string 3, and we're going to use that guitar pick. So remember, we're going to basically recreate what this does. Now, most people, and if you watch Evan's performance, most people will hold a guitar pick like this, using the index finger and the thumb. So what you're going to do is you're going to basically pretend like you're holding the pick, although nothing's there. So when you're playing, go ahead and just play string 3, and I'm just going to play the 4th fret of string 3. You're going to pick down with the nail of your thumb and then come up with the fleshy part. So down, up, down, up, down, up. Just like that. So you're just using this very tip of your finger. So down with the nail, up with the fleshy part. Now, since I have some issues with my index finger, I hold the pick like this, and I'm going to be doing the same concept, but I'm going to be using my middle finger. So I'm going to go down with the nail of the middle finger, up with the fleshy part. So same thing, I'm just using this finger. Evan and most of you guys are probably going to want to use the index finger. You should feel the most comfortable. But I just want to point that out. Now you can try the middle finger if that feels better for you. Go ahead and use it. So that's basically it. So you kind of just want to hit pause and you want to just try and put it into a rhythm. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, maybe accent the 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? So just get used to doing that. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And that'll get you comfortable with this technique. So this little picking technique is going to help us build the speed that we need. Sounds pretty cool, right? Okay, so now we understand the rhythm, we understand the mechanics behind the technique to pick it, so let's learn it. So we're going to hit the open 4 as well as the 4th fret of string 3. And that 4th string can ring out and fade out. If you do touch it with the palm of your hand while you're doing the picking thing, no big deal, doesn't matter. It's kind of there just as a little accent. Okay, so first I'm going to go down, hit both strings, and then I'm going to take the ring, put it on 6 on string 3. So here comes the 16th note that we have. Okay, so we have 1 and a 2 and, so you have 4 hits on that 6th fret. 1 and a 2 and, so I'm going down, down, up, down, up. Okay, so down, down, up, ba, da, 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 da. 1 and a 2 and. Okay, so that end of 2 is going to hold into beat 3. That's where you lift up after. So the end of 3, you're back to the 4th fret. And you're going to hit that 3 times. Okay, so I'm going to start with an up, down, up. So I have down, down, up, down, up. Okay, so a good rule of thumb for down and up. When do you use down, when do you use up? Use down on a downbeat, up on an upbeat. So if you have 8th notes, which is just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you're going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. If you have 16th notes, which subdivides it into 4 hits, 1 E and A, you would have down for 1, up for E, down for and, up for A. That's why we're going down, down, up for that first hit, because we're skipping the second 16th note, right? Because it's an 8th that extends. 1 and A, down, down, up. So let's put that entire bar together. Let's try it together. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 4 and. Nice. Now our second bar is actually very similar. The only difference is going to be the notes that we're playing. The rhythm is the same. So remember, rhythm is identical, but the notes we're playing is going to go 7 to 6. So we're going to start with open 4 plus the 3rd string, and then take your pinky, put it on 7 on string 3. So you have, okay, 1 and a 2 and. And then after that, you're going to use the ring to play 6 for those last 3 hits. So 1 and a 2 and 4 and. Okay, so 4, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 6. Let's try that one together. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. And let's slow down. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so if we put those 2 bars together, this is what we get. 3, 4. Okay, and one stylistic thing, you can hit that first bum ba da 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 bum ba da 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 da. Hit that first hit with a little bit more emphasis. Here's the cool thing. Bar 3 and 4 for this riff is going to be the same as bar 1 and 2. Okay, after that, the 5th bar is going to be the same as bar 1. And then the 6th bar, the first half is going to be the same. So let me show you, right? So bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, same as 1, bar 4, same as 2, bar 5, same as 1, bar 6, same as the first half of bar 2 and 4. So when you get to the end of 3, you're playing 6 to 5 to 4. It literally walks down on string 3. So that 6 bar by itself. Calling out the rhythm, same rhythm. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so you're literally just walking chromatically half steps down. Let's try that one together. 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so now when you get to the last couple bars to finish up the riff, so this is bar 7 for the riff, and bar 8 is going to sound like this. Okay, so let's break that one down. So here's the first part that you're going to find that's a little bit tricky. It's going to be that transition going from into that chord. Okay, so that's going to be one area that you want to practice. So let's learn this 7th bar, and then we'll cover a couple tips on practicing the transition. So 7th bar, we have an E minor and a E minor major 7. So it has a minor 3rd and a major 7, really kind of dissonant sound. So to make this chord, we're going to use our middle finger on 4 on string 3, index on 3 on string 2, pinky on 6 on string 1. It's okay if you hit the open G, it does not matter too much. You can target 3 down, that's what Evan does, but again, not a big deal. So I like to do an accented strum, like a fan strum. So I like to do a fan strum for that. If you're new to that technique, I'll put a link to a lesson below where I taught it. It's called La Gitanita. I'll put the spelling up there too, so you can check out that lesson to learn the mechanics behind this. But after that little fan strum, I'm going to come up with the nail of my thumb, and I'm going to hit just 5 on string 1. So you can see I lift pinky up, put the ring finger down on 5 on string 1. So da-da, da-da-da. So you hear the little melody already. Da-da. Okay, so you're going to go 1 and you're holding that into beat 2. On the end of 2, you're going to play string 3, and then pluck 1 and 2, and then string 3. Okay, so we have 1 and 2 and 3 and. So fan 1, hold, then string 3, pluck, string 3. Again with rhythm, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and. After this, a little tricky. Take the pinky, put it on 7 on string 2, so you can lift the ring finger up. You're going to pluck 4 and 7, so strings 3 and 2 together. And then with that ring, put it on 5 on string 2, so get rid of the pinky, and then put the pinky back down. Okay, so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that last hit is actually the first beat of the next bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so let's see if we can try that one slowly. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, even slower. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So up to speed. Okay, now this last little 8th bar is just going to be vamping, kind of filling up the space because the melody's already been played. Da da, ba da da. So that last note is the melody for beat 1 for the 8th bar. So here's the 8th bar. Remember, we started with that pluck on beat 1. So you're going to come down with a slap on beat 2, and then you're going to pluck again, strings 3 and 2, and come up. So this is literally a chucking technique that I use. When I come down and I come up and I pluck, this is a technique that not every ukulele player utilizes, but I'll put a link to my lesson on chucking in the description box below, which talks about the mechanics behind how I come down in this claw shape, which lines me up perfectly to pluck. Okay, so check out that lesson if you're new to the way that I do it. So again, we have 1, 2, and. So I'm going pluck, slap, pluck. Then on beat 3, I'm playing the open G, I'm going to pluck again. And then for the last hit, which is beat 4, you can do a little strum, but try to hit just 3 and 2. That'll give it a nice strong ending, a little bit of a different characteristic. So if we put it together, that's what we get. So let's just try that 8th bar, which is 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So slow, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, and put those 2 bars together, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And even slower, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so here is the thing. I mentioned that we would touch on the transition. The transition is tricky going from the 6th to the 7th bar. So how do we do that? You see, we left off on that 4th fret of string 3, so we have to quickly transition to that minor major chord. So how do we do that? Well, we've got to go diagonally down from the 4th fret and then put the middle finger where the index was and then the pinky down. All that has to happen in pretty much unison. So you can see that when I go down, I'm going into position with all 3 fingers. So you really want to practice from one finger, 4th fret, the end of 4 on the 6th bar. That 4th fret go into the minor and add the strum. 3 and 4 and 1. So the key here is to move in unison. We don't want to go blah, blah, blah. We want to go boom. Diagonally down, all 3 fingers down. Very, very tricky. So let's do this now though. Let's see if we can go over the entire riff. So all 8 bars. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so if that was a little fast, you can use these directions to slow it down for the YouTube player, but don't forget that the premium members do get access to that on-screen tab viewer, so you can set it incrementally to whatever speed you want to practice to get it down with. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next section. And before we get there, we do need to talk about the form of the song. So this riff is actually going to get played twice. So those 8 bars will get repeated. So you're going to play it for 16 bars. Then we go back into that intro, which I've now labeled as the interlude. Just like the beginning of the song, that gets played twice, giving you 4 bars overall. So that leads us now into our next section, which is the horns. So these next 8 bars, we're going to be learning the horn section played down here. But the following 8 bars will take that melody and move it up an octave. So a really cool way to do a variation. But first, we'll begin with the section down here. So let me play just a little bit of this and then we'll break it down and learn it. Now here is where I mentioned in the beginning of the video that we switch fills. So we're switching from a straight fill to a swung fill. So again, if you need a recap on the difference between straight 8th notes or swung 8th notes, check out the link in the description box below. That lesson goes super in detail. So let me go ahead and play it and then we'll break it down. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, so that's what the first couple bars sound like, minus the very last note of the second bar. But that basically is the first complete phrase. But let's break that in half and learn just the first bar. So our first bar sounds like this. Okay, rhythmically, pretty simple. Eighth notes, remember swung fill. Swung eighths throughout all of this. Now, that first chord, it's the same as the E minor major 7 that we just learned, but the fingering, as you see in the little chord diagram, is different. So we're going to be using the ring, middle, and the pinky to stretch. So if you're new to playing stretch chords or stretch licks, stretch phrases, anything that requires our pinky to be a gymnast, I'll put a link to a lesson in the description box below on increasing left hand reach. It's got 3 exercises that will help you increase the reach of your left hand. Okay, so let's take a second and make this chord with our new fingering, 3rd, 2nd, pinky. And we're going to be playing out of this chord. So we have string 3, string 2, then we're going to come down with a little slap. So this one, I'm just going to kind of hit it, not so much like the chucking technique where I'm in place with my fingers to come up with a pluck, but I'm just going to come down as a claw and just hit it. 1 and 2. Okay? After that, we can do a strum from 3 down. You can do an accented strum if you want, or if we want to keep it simple, just a regular strum down. So together, 1 and 2 and 3. So you already noticed that same movement we had before, where right after we play that 6, it goes to the 5th, but this time we have to use the pinky finger. So it is the gymnast right now. So you have 3, 2, slap, strum, then move it back a half step, come up and hit 5, 1 and 2 and 3. Okay? After that, you're going to play string 3, string 2. At this point, you're going to lift up because this whole time, this 5th fret was ringing out. But at the end of 4, you're going to lift up and you're going to put your index finger onto the 1st fret of string 1, giving us this diminished shape. So check it out. Remember, eighths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, without counting. That's with the correct fill. Okay, so let's see if we can try that one together. 3, 4. Next, you're going to come down with a slap. This is beat 1. That's when you move that index finger up a half step and goes into that regular E minor shape. Here's what the second bar sounds like. Okay, so I'm cutting out the end of 4, the last note, so we're going to learn up to the end of 4. Again. Key thing to notice here, everything is a pluck except for the end of 2. I'm going to do an up strum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Remember, eighth notes throughout. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so I'm doing slap, pluck, then I'm going to hit the open G. Here I'm going to do an up strum, just using the nail of my thumb. That's the end of 2. Then I come down with a slap on 3, pluck, and then open 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, let's try that one together. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Alright, if we backtrack, let's try 1st and 2nd bar, and then we'll talk about why we're skipping the last hit of the 2nd bar. So 1st, 2nd bar together. 3, 4. Okay? That last hit starts our next phrase. Sounds like this. So it's kind of weird that, we have 4 bars, right? The first phrase is the first bar and the 2nd bar up to the end of 4. Right? So it kind of starts a little premature. But really important to recognize phrases because it really helps us learn it. So remember, approach by learning by ear, which is recognizing phrases, but also understanding the rhythms that you play. And also here's where it gets a little bit tricky in terms of fingering. So this is my version, which is different from what Evan plays. I thought Evan's version was very difficult for my playing style, so I rewrote what he did, keeping the same notes. I kept the same notes in the same rhythm, I'm just playing them in a different position on the neck. So for this, we're going to be playing out of the top part of the E minor. So same staircase chord, but we're going to use this fingering. Middle finger is on the 4th fret of string 3, index is the 3rd fret of string 2. We're not playing string 1, but we still have the open G. So on the end of 4 of bar 2, we're going to hit that chord. We can do a strum or a pluck. I would suggest a strum. That's going to get tied into beat 1 of the 3rd bar. Now on the second half of beat 1, we have 16th notes, which is going to be a pull-off. So it's 5 to 3 with the ring to the index. So you keep that chord shape intact. So remember, starting on the end of 4, 3 and 4 and 1 and a. Okay, so and 1 and a. After that, you're going to take the pinky, put it on 6 on string 3, lift it up, play 4, which is the middle finger. So that's 2 and. So we have 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and. Putting it together in the context, it would sound like this. Okay, 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and. After that, you're going to come down with a slap on beat 3. That'll buy you time to lift this up, and you're going to play the open C, then the 4th fret with your pinky, and then the 1st fret, all on the C string. It's a little walk down. So starting again on the end of 4, 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's try that starting the end of 4, 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. So again, this end of 4 holds into beat 1, but also on beat 1 of the 4th bar, we're going to play the A note. So check it out, you have an A chord, right? In the context of the song, it's got this name, but think of it just as an A chord for right now. It's easy to understand. We have the basic A chord shape, and we're actually going to be moving it to a higher voicing of an A. Actually, if you include the G, it'd be an A7. Think of a basic G chord, move it up a whole step, and you get the next chord shape. So we're going boom, boom, A to a higher voicing of A. So we left off with and 4 and. So you're holding that 1st fret into the next bar, but you're also going to be adding the A note, that 4th string. You're going to play that, and then you're going to play the open 1st and 2nd string. So I like to do just a little strum. And honestly, if your strum hits just string 1, that's fine. If your strum hits all 4 strings, that's fine. Does not really matter. But that's what that bar sounds like. And 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? So breaking down just this last bar, 4th bar by itself, hit string 4, come up with a strum. So you have the basic A, come down with a slap, and then go to the higher voice of the A, pluck that, and then come up with a strum and down with a strum. Okay? So rhythmically wise, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you're holding into beat 3, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's try together. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Now let's try those last couple bars together, but we're going to start on the end of 4 for bar 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One more time. 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if we backtrack, we'll try the first 4 together, and it sounds a little bit like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay, a bit slower. 3, 4. So definitely one you want to practice slow. I know we did play it fast both times. But again, you can use that little YouTube player or the on-screen tab here to slow it down. But let's take a look at the second half now. So the second half is going to start the same. We have that first couple bars are all identical, even up to the next part, so the next phrase. But you can see the end of it walks up, and for and. So this is the 7th bar. So when you get to the second half of the 7th bar, after that slap, you're going to play open C, use the middle to play the 3rd fret of string 3, and then the ring finger to play the 4th fret. That's gonna line you up perfectly to go back to the staircase E minor to finish up with the 8th bar. So in the context of it, playing on the end of 4, bar 6 into 7. Okay, so you can see slight little variation on the ending. Okay, so let's just recap that one little change. We're going to start on beat 3 of bar 7, so that's the slap. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so go ahead and make the E minor staircase shape. And for bar 8, it sounds like this. So 8th notes up to the last hit, which is a quarter. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so we're going to start with plucking string 3, pluck 1 and 2, come down with the slap, and then we can pluck all 4 strings. 1 and 2 and. After that, you're going to hit the open G, and then I like to come up with a strum, and then down with a strum on beat 4. So together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So 3, pluck, slap, pluck, 4, up, down. Okay, let's give that bar a shot. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So simple way to end it. So let's try this, guys. Let's see if we can go the second half of this with that little change. So bars 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. 3 and 4 and... Okay, and all 8 bars. 3 and 4 and... So that gives us everything for the first horn section. The next horn section sounds like this. Yeah, he is incredible, isn't he? But as you heard, it goes up higher on the neck. So really, really cool variation. So we're taking the same melody, and we're playing it up higher on the neck. And that is where we're going to be kicking off and starting the part 2 lesson at. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed learning everything for this part 1 lesson. The part 2 lesson has a lot of cool stuff left to learn and a lot of challenging things left to learn too. So really great piece for pushing us to get to that next level in our playing. Now I do want to remind you that if you do want to get the tabs to print off, keep for your records, that was available at this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for James Bond theme. Don't forget that really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections, all that fun stuff to really tackle this song that much easier. That's on that page as well. And last but not least, the backing tracks. So once you do get finished learning this tune, you can download the backing tracks. We have 100% speed, 75% speed, 50% speed, so you can rock out with the band at home. So again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in the part 2 one. Take care.